I am with Dave Miller. He's the head coach of the Fairmont Firebirds varsity football team. And Coach, we approach week 5. That means we're halfway through the season already.
Yeah, amazing.
Time flies. Okay, let's recap the Northmont game. Starting with the defense, evaluate the effort overall, starting with holding Kortner to 2 completions over 25 yards.
That's really impressive with all of the athletes they have, and him being a 3-year starter like we talked about last week. A lot of experience. We do. That's one of our goals is to prevent big plays, and I think our defense did an outstanding job. Really containing them, holding them to 2 big plays and really 14 points, including an overtime period there too. So it's a great effort. We're making huge strides each week with them, and they're just going to continue to get better hopefully. So.
How important, after cutting the deficit to 7 points, was holding Northmont to a 3-and-out, knowing time was ticking?
It's huge. They overthrew a receiver over there on the sideline. They complete that pass. We had burned a timeout. We were down to our last timeout. That gets a little bit dicey, so that was big. I think progressively as the game went on, we got hits on the quarterback, and he was gutting it out, but you could tell he was hurting. I think that contributed to the pass there, but just a great effort overall by our defense. Couldn't ask for more.
How much did you consider an onside kick after that first touchdown?
Not at all. The way our defense was playing, I thought we're in a pretty good position right here and just kind of leave it up to them. The way they had played, especially in the second half. I mean, geez, it was. I think doing that, we did talk about it, but I think the consensus was let's kick it deep and let's play football. We were down I think 4 minutes at that point, so we felt pretty good about where we were, and it turned out to be the right guess. So
you score the second touchdown with seconds left. How strong of consideration was there to go for a 2-point conversion and the win?
None. that was one that we kind of flirted with too, and even less of a thought on that. Just kick the extra point. We had the momentum at that point. Felt pretty good about where we were. Battled back, and you go down and you miss a 2-point conversion. And I've been there. Last year against Springboro, we did the same thing and had to there. But no, there was no question on that. We were going to kick it.
The freshman Damian Patton had 2 key receptions and ran the ball well. What prompted you to put the freshman in the game?
Well, he's progressively gotten better. We kind of knew with he and Logan Doty, who played a lot too as a freshman, at some point this season they were going to start getting varsity reps. And, I don't know. It was just kind of a gut decision. Turner ran well all night. It wasn't that he had a bad game or anything like that. I felt like we kind of needed a spark a little bit maybe, and he provided that. He's really talented, and he's starting to kind of do things like a varsity player should early on. I think that transition from 8th grade to freshman, doesn't quite understand coming to work every day, and he's really last 2 weeks he's done a great job of that. So he was going to get some carries and get some reps there at fullback, and he's earned himself some playing time for sure. But Justin's doing a great job too. So we've got a really good situation of fullback right now.
In overtime, Brock Baker picks off Kortner. Does he get much practice doing that during the week as a defensive back?
Not really. I mean, there's a lot involved with our quarterback. So, he's a good athlete. He's a competitor. We want him on the field when we can get him there. I felt like against Trotwood, we tried to play him more at corner there. And that was more of a need. Cameron was out, but it also it took a toll on him, I think, at quarterback. So we've managed that, I think, pretty well. He's going to see some time on the goal line and spot him in other situations. So, but he came up big there. I argue he probably has the best hands on the team. Seriously, he's he and Carson Copley probably, but. If it doesn't work out at quarterback for him, he could play wide out or something like that. But just a good athlete, and read the quarterback's eyes, did a good job getting back there and making the pick.
Then you get the ball, any points will win it. Did it cross your mind to send Max out for a field goal right away, or was the strategy against the tired defense to go for the touchdown, which Baker got?
You know, we did. That was one that we probably contemplated a little bit more. I talked to Coach Gantz, our special teams coordinator, and I told him, if we get to third down, we probably are going to kick it then. Just you have something wrong with the snap, you can redo. So we had talked through that scenario. We were in a third and really short, and I felt like, Justin came in after resting a lot of the fourth quarter, fresh legs, in that case, and ran really hard. So I felt really good about, us possibly not having to do that. It's 50-50. That one I struggled with a little bit, but we were moving the ball on him, pretty well. So I felt pretty comfortable with that too. So.
All right, so let's move on to Springboro. Only have one question about those folks. What are your impressions of Springboro, especially the quarterback change that they made and the senior that has been especially dangerous running the ball?
They're extremely well coached. Coach Wilhite and his staff are outstanding. They're maybe, I think, one of the best coaching staffs around. Ron Uller's their line coach, and they have just other guys that are seasoned veterans. They really take advantage of what you do or don't do, and they know what they're doing over there. So very well coached team. They're disciplined. The quarterback situation, I think both those guys are, they have attributes that are scary. The senior can run, can also throw. I think the sophomore might be a little better passer, but not by much, honestly. So whichever one we get, we're going to have our hands full, and they're sound. So I think the thing, probably a lot of people, the tip of the iceberg people, I call them, are looking at their record and going, well, they're not very good. When you look at who they played, Withrow, who just went toe to toe with St. X, 14-10. Elder, beat them down in the pit, and they just went up to St. Ed's and had a 1-point game with them. And then Lebanon, who I thought we've scrimmaged them, and I think they're really good. So those losses they have are really deceiving. They've been battle tested, and that's going to be an absolute war on Friday. So we got to strap it up and get ready to go.
All right, Coach. Well, again, thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to speak with me today, and good luck on Friday night.
Thanks, Norm.
I am with Ryan Wilhite, and he is the head varsity coach for the Springboro Panthers football team. And, Coach, just have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
In the Elder game, you switched quarterbacks and went to senior Austin Newdigate. What predicted the change?
Well, we just, offensively, we felt like we had been struggling a little bit, and we decided to see if Austin would give us a little bit better of an opportunity to move the ball on the ground. He's a little bit more of a running quarterback rather than Jake, and Jake throws it. And that's not saying that we won't play Jake as well, but Jake is just more pocket presence, and we kind of thought that we needed a little bit of a spark that way.
Newdigate has been effective running the ball. What are his other strengths?
Well, I think he does throw the ball better than maybe at times we even give him credit for. But yeah, I think he can make decent throws, down the field and in our short passing game. And then but he's got a good first step, very explosive when he sees a hole and hits the seam, and has the ability to cut the ball back, and has a good vision as well.
Your son Braden Wilhite is the top receiver. How is it to coach him on a daily basis?
Well, it's fun. I think this football is something that we've always shared together. He was actually just born my first year here at Springboro, so he's grown up with football in his life, and has played Pee Wee and junior high and then freshman football in our program. And last year was a JV player on our team, and now having him out on Friday nights, it's fun. It's a different dynamic. I know at times though, when the result isn't exactly what we want, then at home not only is my wife dealing with me, but she's got him as well. So it can be stressful at times around the house, but it's been a good thing.
How hard is it to have the difference between coach and dad?
Well, I think that always depends on how the two parties in that deal with it. And so I try to separate the two, but at the same time, I am me, and when we go home, it's sometimes still on my mind. But I think he's a key in that too, because he really wants to be coached, and he wants to be evaluated, and he's not just looking for a compliment. He wants the truth, and so he accepts coaching, and we kind of look forward to going home and maybe at times even turning on the film and watching that together.
Also, top wideouts are Butler and Yates. Can you give us an idea of what makes them so effective?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are obviously, both of those guys are seniors, and they're very. Will is an explosive player. We play him in multiple spots on offense, and I think that he does a good job with his top end speed. And then Maxim's just a really good route runner. Maxim, he catches the ball in contact, with collision and in contact. He still finds a way. You look at the Elder scrimmage or game last week, and then the Beaver Creek game. He has some just really tough catches that he comes up with that you wonder, man, how do you come down with that one?
How would you evaluate your defense in the middle of the pack of GWAC?
Well, I think we've played some really good offenses and some really explosive offenses, especially Withrow and Elder. And I think they're doing well. I think that we're probably more talented or skilled in the back end than we've been in a long time. Has put us in some spots where we can, hold up in coverage when we bring pressure. I think our 4 linebackers are really, really good players. Got a lot of experience at those 4 spots. Our defensive line is all new guys. We replaced them all, and some of them are seniors, some of them are juniors, but we replaced all of our starters from last year. And in a game like Fairmont, your defensive line is going to come under fire. I mean, their matchup with our offensive line is definitely concerning, and so we've challenged those guys. But yeah, I think our defense, coming off of a shutout win last week against Beaver Creek, I think they're doing well.
Specifically, tell us about Smith, Piddle, and Cunningham, your top 3 tacklers.
Yeah, right. So Connor Smith is a 3-year starter. Has been at the top of the GWAC in tackles both his sophomore and junior year, and is there again this year as a senior. He does a really good job of reading defenses and playing off of a block in the middle. And then Mason Piddle is our other inside linebacker, who was a starter last year. He's a returning starter. And I think that he and Connor work very well together. They're very close, both on the field and off. And I think that they work together in the middle very well. And then Silas Cunningham. Silas had a big game against Fairmont last year. He's a safety who comes down and can make tackles, close or near the line of scrimmage, but also can make plays in the passing game. We had a player here a few years ago, Nathan Coy, who was a really good safety, and I think that Silas has really tried to model his game after Nathan's and has learned a lot from him.
Okay, and finally, your thoughts about facing Fairmont, especially after their come from behind last week.
Yeah. Well, I think Fairmont, they look very, very similar to what they usually look like. The difference is the Baker is playing a different spot. So having the fullback that they'd had for the last 3 years in Baker was a tough challenge. Now Brock Baker is the quarterback, and we saw him a little bit late in our game last year, but then watched him evolve over the last year and into this year. I think he makes their offense different. It's not as much fullback driven, a little bit more quarterback driven, so they can get to some different phases of their offense that I know Coach Miller likes to run. But they're a typical Fairmont team. They're going to put themselves in a spot to be in the game late with a chance. That's what they did last week, coming back on Northmont down 14-0, and all of a sudden they find themselves with a chance and get to overtime. And they're a really tough team I would think, to beat in overtime. Keeping them out from the 20-yard line would be tough.
All right, Coach. Well, that's all I have for you this
Okay.
time around, and thank you for taking time to speak with me, and good luck on Friday.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.